What's up, guys? My name is Khan, and we're back today with more main assembly. And today you can see the Space Template Fighter has gotten a bit of an upgrade. I'm taking Space Force very seriously, and we're starting right away. The devs have added explosives, so of course I decided to build a homing missile. Now, it doesn't work as well as I'd like it to. It does home on the target. It will eventually hit you, no problem. There are a few kind of quirks with it that I'd like to sort of point out, but the premise is really simple. We do have detachable blocks, and of course we have CPUs. So you can see this creation actually has CPU number 2. This is the missile CPU, and we'll go through what this programming all is in a bit. We've got the lasers CPU, which of course Scrapman set up when he stacked a ton of lasers on each other. And then of course, this is still the main control circuit for the ship itself. But anyway, here's what we do. We spawn our ship, we press the 1 button, it detaches our missile, and it fires it, and then our missile goes and has all its explosives. Now, the missile homes onto me. I don't have any players in this server, no one else for multiplayer. The devs did say that it homes onto the closest target of the object that you picked. You can have the smart sensor trigger onto checkpoints, whatever else, whatever you want to do. Are you just you're gonna smoke the station? Yeah, you just hit the station. All right, so sometimes this happens. So anyway, this is one of the quirks of this missile. Turns out one of the very difficult things to do in space is hit a target. It will eventually hit us. It just has to sort of go into a really, really wide arc, and then eventually it'll line up. Now, I am going to prove that this is, in fact, homing. It does, in fact, line up on the... where'd it go? I don't... sometimes it just... Where is it? I can't... It'll come out of nowhere and just smoke us at 1,000,000 miles an hour and blow up. It's kind of hilarious when it happens. I don't know where it went though. I honestly don't. It might have hit something and blown up. So here's what happens. It goes and then it starts, doing its homing thing, and it has RCS and it cancels itself out, kind of like this thing does. You can see it looping around there. But then of course, the problem is it's space, and it keeps sort of drifting through space. And I had a whole sort of anti-drift canceling thing. Oh, there it goes past us. Yeah, now it's gonna turn around and aim straight back at us. But anyway, I had a whole anti-drift thing, the same way this craft here works. So this craft, of course, when we turn, you can see it automatically counters the drift in every direction but forward. And I set that up for the rocket, thinking that that's what we needed. Turns out it actually flies worse when you do that. But anyway, let's real quick run through some of the things that this rocket does. So here's the anti-drift stuff here at the bottom. Basically, the whole CPU takes an input called fire missile that detaches it. When it's detached, that triggers everything else to go, and that triggers the rocket power to turn on. But let's say we get rid of this, and we have it so it doesn't trigger the rocket power, and let's make it not explode. It has a proximity explosion. That's what this is. If you're within 1 meter, it'll just blow up all the bombs, and that kind of causes the rocket to explode. But let's say there's no rocket power and there's no explosion, just to prove that the anti-drift stuff all works and keeps it aligned. So here we go. So here's what's gonna happen. We're gonna spawn it, and it's got a delay on it. Now we could change that delay. That's what this is. This is 5 seconds. And that's the amount of time it takes before the rocket activates all its systems. It's that straight firing time where it just leaves your craft and goes straight for a while, and then it starts homing. But here's the proof that the homing works, because it's kind of crazy. So check this out. So if I press space, it detaches. It's just gonna float down, and apparently it's gonna stop right there for some reason. But there you can see it stops, right? So now it's homing, it's locked onto us, and if we move, check this out. You can see, look, it's just following us, right? So you can see there's no issue there. I can move up here. It's always gonna track me, no problem. Look at this, I go here, and it goes, oh, no, I see you. Doesn't matter where I go, it will always point at me. So that's the homing part of it, and that part's relatively easy. And then the same sense too, if we trigger that up with the explosion part of it, we can put the explosion on it, there we go. So press 1, it's gonna drift away. Let's just go away from it, so we're over 1 meter away. It's not flying towards us anymore. And now if we fly towards it, it's gonna explode. There we go, you can see it did 360 damage. And it doesn't seem like much, but we're actually moving at 140 meters per second. We're basically drifting off really, really freaking fast, and it's gonna take us 6,000 years to slow down. It's just sort of the way it is. Now, the problem that I've been finding with this rocket system is that the thrust sort of screws everything up. So there is a stabilization system here. This, you know what, we're just gonna honestly get rid of this. This is, okay, I'm gonna hook this up so you guys can have proof. This is the same system we use here in the actual computer flying Majumdar. That's this stuff over here. This is basically a system that says, if I'm sliding sideways, use the RCS thrusters to cancel out my sideways movement. And let's see, there, I'll smack it over there, just so you can see what it does. And look, if we smack it, it'll adjust. But look at that. all that sideways movement adjustment that it does actually propels the rocket way worse than you'd want it to. You want it to just spin and align itself straight with the target, but because I gave it all that lateral movement, I said, if you're sliding to the right, compensate, and if you're sliding to the left, compensate, and because of that, it just drifts off on its own. So it's not exactly a good system. And the reason why, of course, is because we're not compensating for forward and back. And now you're gonna say, well, Con, you have to hook the rocket power up. So let's hook the rocket power up and prove that I'm not a complete idiot. So there we go, the rocket launches off. And this is, again, with the canceling of velocity in all the other directions other than forward. So it should theoretically cancel the velocity going right, left, and cancel the velocity going up, down. And it should only keep the velocity going straight at whatever target it's pointed at. And of course, it still doesn't work. You can see it's gonna do orbits of us. We can actually watch it do the orbits, and it'll pretty much just do that forever. It seems like it's always trying to get towards middle, but it's always getting pushed out from the middle, and then it's trying to compensate for that, and it just ends up doing a big freaking spiral. So that's the first issue. This idea didn't work. I wanted to try and make it fly like this spaceship, because I thought, hey, during the challenge, we hit each other like 6,000 times. It's gotta be good for a homing missile. Turns out it's not, and we just need this. So let's shimmy this stuff down just so it's a little bit easier to see. So you'll probably notice it's relatively simple. We've got a smart sensor. The smart sensor is sensing a drone, which is us. We're the drone, right? And the smart sensor gives you a bunch of different things, but it gives you, in this case, it gives you the bearing, which is the relative bearing to the object, so 180 degrees to the left or to the right, and that, of course, hooks into yaw, has to be negated because of the way the signs go, and that hooks into yaw through some multiplication. And then elevation, same thing. This is pitch, up 90 degrees up, 90 degrees down, and that hooks into pitch, and that's straight connected. Now, there's a couple of multiplication signals here. This is just as switches. So the first multiplication is a switch. This is triggered on the delay. So you can see once we're detached, it triggers the rocket power right away, but it waits for the 5-second delay until it triggers these multiplication gates. And this just passes a 1 signal, so it multiplies these by 1, and that, of course, activates the tracking, if you want to call it that. So until this delay is reached, it doesn't do any sort of adjustments for tracking itself. And then this multiplication signal here, it's set to 1. It doesn't actually do anything right now. The idea behind that is if we wanted to balance the counter spin of the RCS with the actual yaw and pitch of the RCS. Currently, they're set the same, so they actually fight each other. I found this actually works the best. On the craft that we have, when I move a direction, I have the counter spin shut off, and you can see that here. That's what all this EX mix stuff is. All this stuff is EQWS mix. This is all turning off the counter spin. So it only activates the counter spin when you're not touching any controls on your own. Turns out for the rocket, you don't want that. You just want counter spin on all the time. And we can put a factor in this. So if we put it at 0.8, I believe it means your counter spin is only 80% of your actual, full yaw. But I leave it at 1-to-1, and it seems to work quite well. And then, of course, we explode with the distance. So this is just kind of easy. The smart sensor also outputs the distance to the object. We multiply that distance by the delay, and that, of course, makes sure that the distance doesn't activate until we've launched the rocket and there's sufficient delay so it doesn't just blow up while it's sitting next to us. And then, of course, we just compare that against a 1 value, which for some reason disappeared. But if the distance is equal to 1, then it'll explode. We have a roll group as well. We could control the RCS roll. I haven't set anything to it. I feel like we don't really need roll control in this. It's a cylindrical rocket. It's pretty much identical in every direction. I don't think roll matters because even if it rolls upside down, the yaw and pitch seems to still point itself at the rocket no matter what in 3 dimensions. The problem we're running into is this stupid freaking rocket power too high gobbledygook. So let's just try reducing it. I had this hit me once, and it was quite amazing when it did, and I was so excited. And then, of course, I wasn't recording. So if it's slower, see, it lines up, no problem. It's just rotating itself. But now it's got that drift. And if we try and cancel that drift, it just doesn't work. Yeah, see, no, now it's gonna miss. Okay, and then it's gonna overshoot, and then it's gonna aim at us again. The other option is we could increase the RCS power. I don't know if that's gonna help. The problem is you basically need it to predict you, right? It needs to incorporate its own spin, its own movement, its own drift into the targeting. So it's constantly aiming at us, which means it's gonna do these lovely lazy orbits until we're so far away. And actually, I'll just fly away from it. And if we go so far away that the radius that it's coming in at us at is almost 0, or almost infinite, I guess, then it's gonna hit us. So let's just fly this way and let's stop. it should be behind us somewhere, right? I mean, it should still track. That 1 in the bottom left corner means it's still got a target. That's just a debug that I put on. It is really cool, by the way, that Main Assembly lets you do remote control stuff with the detachable blocks. You can build all sorts of things that detach from each other, and it doesn't seem to care. I don't see where this missile is. It's still tracking, apparently. All right, I got an idea. I'm gonna actually recreate that bottom circuit real quick, and then we're gonna see if we can maybe put a multiplying factor on that and reduce it. I really want this to work. It's so close. And then I want to build a version of this that works in air with aerodynamics and wings to control it. I thought space was gonna be easier, but I didn't think about the fact that everything in space drifts way too freaking much. Try it again. Smack this over. All right, what are you gonna do? You're gonna rotate. Oh, it just locked. See, it just stopped there. What if I go over here? Okay, you're locked onto me there. Okay, what if I go, I don't want, wait, if I go close to you, I'm gonna blow up. What if I go over here? Look at how good it is. The targeting is so good. It's just as soon as I give it movement, it can't counteract the drift. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I'm gonna keep, I got a couple ideas. I wanna try, I think we're closer now. Okay, that looked pretty good. It's so good at targeting, and then as soon as I give it this rocket power, it's just like it's too fast. And I tried doing other things too, like I tried having it set so the rocket power would only fire when it was lined up at the target, and it didn't make a difference. It just basically never shot, because as soon as you were moving, it just sat there and waited. There we go, with rockets. But now look, it's because it's got all that forward momentum it has to cancel. There it goes, it swings itself around like crazy, right? And now it's gonna try and cancel the drift, which it's obviously not doing. And the rocket power is still just pushing it forward. And now look, it's just gonna do this massive lazy orbit. It's still gonna keep lining up on us, but it's just never gonna be able to actually, there it is way down there. It's just a speck. All right, come back. No, not, see, it just can't do it. Is it just the up down that's wrong? Maybe. All we gotta do is flip the up down and not the right left. Maybe that's where we've been going wrong here. Let's leave that there. Let's go here and negate that. All right, let's see. There we go. Flick you over there. By golly, Miss Molly. Is that really the solution? Did I have, honestly, was it just the up needs to be negated? Why? That doesn't make sense. Why would only one need to be negated and not the other? Is that actually the solution though? Hold on, if that's, let's just try this one more time. Let's flick that really hard. There's no way that's the solution. Holy cow. Oh my God, the thing like locks on so much better. Okay, hold on. Rocket power, engage. Give this power of 10. All right, if this works, I swear, this might have been it. All right, fire. Oh my God, that Holmes. Is it doing it? What's it do? It's drifting again. See, it's doing the drifts. I feel like it's lined up, but it's drifting. What if I go towards it? Come here, bud. Come here. No, come here. No, don't keep flying away. Come here. What are you doing? No. Okay, I see you. So I have one last thing to test, and I think this is gonna work. I think what we need to do is get rid of all this stuff at the bottom. The stuff at the bottom is absolute garbage. It's just terrible. It theoretically makes sense. So I tried it again, having it disconnected. Doesn't really make a difference. And you need to cancel the drift velocity. That's the problem. We have this drift velocity that we're just not canceling. But I think we need to use the built-in RCS function to do it, rather than doing it ourselves. This is kind of a beautiful system. It's the same thing the spaceship uses, and the idea is that you're only canceling velocity that's left, right, up, and down, because forward and back you actually want. You want to maintain forward velocity. That's sort of what it is. But let's delete all this, and let's take all our RCS thrusters, which I think is 4 through 8 on the missile, I believe. And we're going to use the built-in function, which is called counter velocity. I thought it was cancel velocity, but counter velocity. So 3, 4, and this is gonna be painful, so let's just group them all up. All right, so now we've got all our RCS thrusters in a group, and we're gonna just hook counter velocity right up to the timer. So as soon as the timer activates, it's gonna start countering the velocity in the same way it counters the spin. Now, it's gonna counter the spin with a multiplier of 0.8. Ooh, you know what? We could put a multiplier on this too. Let's actually bring both of these down here. Let's put a multiplier on the counter spin. There we go, 0.8. And let's just set up another set here. We're gonna set this one to 1.0 to start, but we can play with it if we want to, depending on how we feel. And this one, again, multiplier by the value into counter velocity. So this will give us the ability to tweak our counter spin and counter velocity. And then, of course, we're still adjusting our yaw and pitch based on the bearings, and distance for explosion is still good to go. Let's just move all this up out of the way. Look at that. Perfect. Wonderful. Rocket power, let's crank this up to 50 because it needs to be able to overpower now this counter velocity, which means all the RCS thrusters are going to be basically trying to push the rocket backwards, but they're also going to be steering it left and right to keep it straight. So theoretically, this should work perfect because it's just perfect. Oh, I forgot to get rid of all my debug things. I reloaded an old design because I screwed some stuff up. All right, let's try this again. So here we go. So fire, there it goes. Now all the velocity is going to get countered as soon as it activates in 5 seconds, and it also steers straight at us. And look at that. And now, is it coming for us? I don't know what it's doing. Where is it going? Okay, it's doing like lazy circles towards us. Okay. It's close. Oh, there it is. Okay, so it actually hit. That's sick. It overshot first, and we are drifting way too fast. Oh boy, it overshot first. All right, you know, we can fix that. Hold on, let's go back. We can tweak that. It actually hit though. That's super awesome. Now, you'll notice there isn't any damage. I'm pretty sure the explosives can't do damage to me because I'm the one who spawned them. I'm not positive on that. Let's change this to 0.8. So it's a little bit less of an effect of the velocity counter. Full speed. Yeah, let's try that and see what that does. Let's, rocket power. Keep it the same. Let's try this. All right, here we go. Fire number 2. That looks so cool. All right. Then 5 seconds later, it should activate. Look at that. It literally just points straight at us now. Where is it going? It kind of drifts up. Excuse me, I'm here. Yeah, you overshot. No, now you undershot. There we go. And jeez, that's amazing. That's so good. All right. We're gonna do one more test here. Let's see how it does with a moving target. See, here's the thing though. I'm gonna now outrun it, right? So fire, and let's go this way. Bye, rocket. All right, and then when it gets close, we're gonna try dodging it. Here we go. Yeah, I see you. I'm gonna go this way. Look at what are you gonna do? Look at just flying. Oh, it's homing. Kind of wobbles a little bit now with the counter velocity, but it's still trying to do it. Come here. Can't hit me. That is awesome. That's so unbelievably cool. It's just we're getting chased by a rocket through space now. It's actually really, really good. The counter velocity works quite well. I wish there was a way to only counter it in the 3 directions, like all the directions except forward. But unfortunately, it seems like it doesn't want to do that. What are you doing, bud? You still just follow me? Look, I'm just drifting, man. I'm just drifting. Can't hit me. You're just a terrible rocket. You're just a super inaccurate homing missile that drifts a lot. I think I'm faster than it at 10 meters per second. Am I actually? Yeah. What's up? Can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man. That's so cool. Yeah, it's constantly got the RCS. You can see countering its forward velocity too, which is a big pain in the butt. The other ones are great. I don't know if there's a way. There's no way to override that, right? Like counter velocity. There's no setting. See, the manual way to do it with the forward, back, right, left, up, down. See, that's what you want. That's like the solution. But it doesn't seem to work. Here we go. Looks cool. Oh, 60 looks good. Looks like it's locked on target now. Is it? It always seems to overshoot and then undershoot and then just miss completely. And then eventually, here it comes. There we go. Perfect. Now we're going off at 156 meters per second. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I do want to keep playing around with this. I think there's a great potential here. I think the space issue is very difficult. I feel like we could use the same logic and the same math here to try and make a missile that flies through air. And I feel like in air, it might be a little bit easier because we're gonna have some drag forces and some things that, you know, if we put fins on it, it's naturally gonna want to straighten itself out because of air resistance and aerodynamics. Where in space, it just drifts aimlessly forever unless we counter that velocity. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Let me know if you have any suggestions. I'm curious to try other things. I really don't like this. I feel like this is just a blanket, terrible way to do things. I feel like there's a better way to do it. And obviously, the system I had set up to sort of mimic the way the spaceship works, this system here, yeah, it doesn't seem to work as well when it's a small little rocket. It just sort of sends it off into space. So if you have any suggestions on how to fix that, let me know. I think I might take a break from the space missiles and try and make a homing missile that flies through the air, and go with that. And maybe that'll have a little bit more success. Same kind of deal. We'll have it shoot straight up in the air and come back down and shoot us down. And then, of course, if we can do that, there's so much more automation stuff, guys. You know, really briefly, really quickly, I'm just going to show you. If we go into the smart sensor, you can see we're targeting the drone, but we can have it target bots, dummies, balls, box, parking. I don't know what, oh, the parking in the levels. Ooh. Danger, pickup, checkpoint, and breakable. We could actually make something that attempts to do an entire challenge without ever needing any inputs. Like, you could have multiple smart sensors and have it trigger on various things. So as you can see, lots of cool automation stuff we can do in main assembly. I really want to get into it. And, you know, a space missile, it's pretty freaking awesome. I'm not gonna, like, you know, it's okay, okay? You know what? I know it's got issues. I'm not trying to say it's perfect, but it is, in fact, a homing missile. It's not the best homing missile. You can see it. Here it comes. Come here, homing missile. Just don't stop, overshoot. It's tumbling. This is Space Force. This is what you wanted. This is what we're getting. Come on, Space Force. Come on, homing. Look at that. That's so cool. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. It just accelerates you so fast. I'm like trying to slow it down. I just can't do it. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Of course, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll see y'all next time.